Welcome to the Kryptonaut Podcast. I'm Mark Storrs, and with me, as always, is...
I'm Chris Garzelli.
And...
Rob Morphy.
Thank you for joining us, as always, the social medias, the Instas, the Twitters, the Facebooks. Leave us some ratings and reviews on the iTunes and Apple Podcast apps. That helps us out greatly. Be sure to check out our Big Cartel shop, which is kryptonautpodcast.bigcartel.com. We got some super awesome enamel pins for sale. We got some koozies. We got some stickers. We got our TeePublic shop where you can get some sweet, sweet gear.
Totes.
We have totes for sale, Rob. We have totes for sale. So be sure to check all of that out. And yeah, without further ado, let's get started this week with Delta Dogs.
Oh, that sounds like an army.
It surely does. It
thing.
sounds like an army-designated group of canines that are probably like rats of Nim, super intelligent, and they're going out and doing secret missions, mostly probably thwarting demons.
All right.
I will tell you this. It is not that.
Okay. Well, when I make the movie, it will be.
Oh, there you go. All right, so let's get started with. Near the end of the 1950s, in the wee hours of a bitter January morning, a devoted mother was driving through a violent snowstorm in order to visit her son. Although the visibility was near zero, she managed to catch sight of a piece of technology that was beyond her understanding. And what's worse, she also spied the mind-boggling beings that were apparently occupied with this massive vehicle.
Indeed, she did.
Jeez.
All right.
On February 12, 1966, the Syracuse Post-Standard published an astonishing report about a local woman identified as Mrs. N.L. Collins, who claimed to have a run-in with the unthinkable while driving through an all-but whiteout blizzard on the New York State Thruway back in January of 1958.
Shout out Syracuse, New York. What's up, hometown heroes?
Whiteout blizzard is pretty standard.
Yeah, it's what we live in.
According to the account, at approximately 1:30 a.m. on the night in question, Collins had slowed her vehicle to nearly a crawl as she warily negotiated the treacherous, ice-sheeted Interstate 90 en route to visit her teenage son at an unspecified Army base. With her eyes just barely able to make out the edges of the now deserted, snow-smothered road, the only thing this mom longed to see were her son and the sign indicating the exit that would lead her to him. Her desperation was increased by the fact that she was now convinced that the thruway ahead must be closed due to the total lack of oncoming headlights. So we're talking fucking desolation.
Oh,
I've been
yeah.
there. I've been on this exact
we've-
throughway.
Yeah.
Coming back from Batavia from a comic convention where there was nothing on the other side, just me in like another little tiny car.
Yeah.
And the
And
occasional abandoned car. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, we have a combined decades of experience driving in upstate New York, horrible winters. And so this is something we can absolutely identify with. The thing I always remember, every time you drive in an extremely bad situation, it's like fucking being Han Solo in the Millennium Falcon.
Every
As
time.
the snow flies towards you,
exactly, yeah.
you're fucking going into like hyperspace immediately. And I always end up waking up the next day with like a fucking jaw ache because I'm like just
you're
fucking
tense.
grinding my teeth. Fucking, you lean forward so your fucking neck is completely arched and aching, as if somehow that'll help you see through the fucking blizzard
but
ahead.
you can't help it. You're grabbing everything. And if you've never driven in snow like that, you cannot use your high beams.
Oh no,
No.
Because the light
blind.
reflects off
Yeah.
the snow, so you have to, your sight is just
Shit.
you're looking for like the side of the road lines
Yeah.
just to give you some indication you're on the fucking road.
So we know what she's going through.
Yeah,
We've all
absolutely,
been
100%. It is fucking scary, in short. And so it's even weirder, specifically to Mrs. Collins' point, to not see cars coming. So you assume it's just there's nothing ahead. It's oblivion. It's like driving into Stephen King's The Mist.
there. Yep.
Although her concentration was wholly focused on trying to keep her car from sliding off the ice-caked thruway, Collins was relieved that there was a brief respite from the whiteout conditions. This relief would prove to be short-lived, however, as she spied what she believed to be the wreckage of a downed plane in the median between the lanes.
Whoa.
That's just, bad enough, all the circumstances we're talking about. All of a sudden, I'm driving up on a fucking plane crash.
Yeah, not what you want to see in the through when
Just
you're in a
wreckage,
blizzard.
right? But then like fire or just
No fire, just what looked like
looks like
a
just
crumpled, dark hunk of
right.
wreckage, I guess.
Okay, all right.
wreckage.
This is what she had to say. As I drove carefully along, I suddenly saw what appeared to be an airplane wreck on the Center Parkway. A large shape was visible, and a slim rod at least 50 feet high was illuminated and getting shorter as though it were sinking into the ground. I'm not sure which plane has the 50-foot antenna.
Yeah.
But it's sinking fast.
Okay, all right, it's going down.
Yeah,
Going down.
Going down with the ship. Before she could even consider the implications of a plane sinking through the snow and perhaps even the earth, Collins' car abruptly stalled on the windswept stretch of road. She described the increasingly eerie scene. My motor slowed down, and as I came closer, my car stopped completely by itself. I became panicky and tried desperately to start it, as I had no lights. So on top of it all now, darkness.
Not good.
Solid darkness.
No, not good.
My only friend.
Yeah. As terrifying as it must have been for her to be stranded and alone on an icy expressway in the dead of night, Collins' concern for the possible passengers in the downed plane motivated her to open her car door. But just as she was reaching for the handle, she suddenly noticed movement by the quote-unquote wreckage. Without warning, two inhuman figures seemed to emerge from the snow, and without the evident aid of ropes, pulleys, ladders, or even a fucking jetpack, they slowly floated upward, working their way around the pole. So this 50-foot in sinking pole.
Okay, all right.
Two things come out, inhuman, of the snow. It's
Okay.
dark, and they're moving their way up.
Okay, no Boba Fett technology present. All right.
Evidently.
Well, that she probably doesn't know Boba Fett, so
It's true, she doesn't.
This is what Collins recalled.
it's clones. It's clearly clones.
It's totally clones.
Yeah.
My first thought was to get out and see what was happening, but I suddenly saw two shapes rising around the slim pole, which was still growing shorter. They were suspended but moving about it. Collins described these bizarre, gravity-defying hexapedal creatures, stating, "They seem to be like animals, with 4 legs and a tail, but 2 front feelers under the head like arms." Fucking weird.
Weird,
right?
yeah,
We're gonna
okay.
say it's weird?
Strange, yeah.
And
Hexapedal.
that's 6.
Yeah.
Okay. Just
While compiling research for his seminal 1988 UFO book, Dimensions, A Casebook of Alien Contact, famed astronomer, author, and ufologist Jacques Vallée, friend of the pod,
Vallée.
not really,
Jacques Vallée.
but one we admire intensely, was contacted by Collins, who at the time, which means pre-1966 when this was published in the Post-Standard, asked to remain anonymous. It has been suggested that it was during these interviews that Collins may have offered a more complete description of these presumably alien animals, which have come to be known in some circles as alien dogs, and, though I'm not fucking sure why, Delta dogs.
okay.
I don't even understand dogs.
They're hexapedal, I
Yeah,
guess.
Delta
They're hexapedal.
dogs.
Whatever their original source, some of these additional details have been captured in the form of an illustration, which I have right here, by Harry Trumbore in Patrick Hughes's ceaselessly entertaining 1996 tome, The Field Guide to Extraterrestrials. Of course, we're going to post this so our listeners can also see it. Okay, let's paint this picture. These creatures were said to be about 4 feet tall and 6 feet in length. The back portion of the entity resembled a hairless dog with a long tail and 4 canine-like limbs that terminated into almost sloth-like 3-toed claws.
Okay.
So back creature's essentially kind of an emaciated dog, long thin tail.
Is this guy explaining it?
This
now,
is-
his interpretation of what she.
This is me explaining it based on what I read in Jacques Vallée.
His interpretation of what she saw.
Yes, but also the illustrator's interpretation
Of what she saw.
of what she saw.
Okay.
So
I want to make that.
I'm
I
doing,
want to make that clear.
this is me describing what she saw based on the literal description that appeared in the Post-Standard.
Okay.
The description that appeared
'Cause-
in Jacques Vallée's
All right.
book.
Fine.
And the illustration that appeared in Patrick Hughes's book. And
Okay.
other online sources that just seem to randomly interject things. So it's literally a jigsaw puzzle of fucking random sources, and you're right to point that out, Chris. And it's
I
just
just want
me
to make
doing
sure
my
because it
best.
even confused me. I'm like, wait, who are we talking about now?
Yeah. No,
Did
we're
we
point-
just the conception ourselves?
No, we're 100%.
All right, just making
We're talking
sure.
about Uncle Rob doing his best to filter all the
No,
online
no,
sources
it's not
into a
you.
cohesive whole.
There's just
Okay.
names, and then there's like
Yeah.
somebody comes along and does a thing, and then somebody else comes along.
I
and
know.
and I'm like,
It's my fault. Well, it's not my fault. I always try to cite the sources I come to
No,
because you
that's
got to give those
fine.
people props.
All right. Well,
I'm going to show you the photo after I describe it to you.
Okay.
So it'll make it easier for you guys, and hopefully our listeners will be able to have seen it the moment they hear this.
All right, cool.
Okay. So 4 feet tall, 6 feet long.
Yes.
The back portion is kind of like a hairless dog with a long tail and like standard dog legs terminating in like sloth-like three-toed claws.
Okay.
Okay. The fore portion of the beast looks, for the life of me, like an anthropomorphic tardigrade. It fucking really does. There is no evident neck, and its huge rounded head simply emerges from its shoulders. The creature's face also reminds me of an embryonic human with large eyes, nostrils, and a slit-like mouth. Unlike its quadrupedal hind legs, the so-called delta dog's forelimbs lack any hands or digits or anything else that could be used for grasping, and come to arthropod-like points. The organism's epidermis has been characterized as being either smooth or covered in nearly undetectable wisps of hair, resulting in some believing that this creature is essentially mammalian, though, I mean, if it's an alien, who the fuck knows? What, you know?
Yeah, that's an assumption that you're like, oh, it's mammalian.
So here's my basic fucking breakdown.
I mean, it seems like a wild. It seems like a wild assumption. Clearly a mammalian. Like, well, it's coming out of a fucking shipping up a pole. How many mammalians are going up a fucking shipping out a pole?
Father, what is it?
It's a mammalian.
It's a mammalian.
Oh, I killed Chris.
Oh man.
Oh, Chris lost his last lung, his last working lung.
All right.
So here's my essential fucking breakdown of this. It's as if a dog humped a mantis shrimp and their love child married a fucking tardigrade, resulting in an unholy union that is pooch/shellfish/water bear /centaur.
Oh god.
A water bear and centaur. Really?
I'm going to show you guys the picture now.
All right. Yeah. So
I don't even know.
We will see if I, in any way, shape, or form, accurately capture
this is like I mean, we've
I
had
have
some.
sort of an idea, but
We've had some pretty bizarre descriptions of aliens,
it's a
but
doozy.
this is definitely.
It's a doozy, my friend.
Oh my! This looks uncomfortable.
It does not seem biologically sound.
No, it doesn't.
It seems as if this thing is awkward as fuck. And bear in mind, this 4 by 6 foot fucking thing is floating around this sinking antenna,
which I mean,
doing repairs, enjoying itself, frolicking,
And
playing Ring Around the Rosie.
Floating, apparently.
It's floating.
Yeah.
Up to perhaps just under 50 feet high. So
I mean, it sort of has a.
I have problems with this.
A gray feature to it. Like
in the sense that gray aliens have really simplistic human features.
Yeah, they said that
big
it was
eyes, slits, and
like
nostrils.
a fetal face, which
Yeah.
is just a big eye
Yeah.
and like a
Oh,
slit.
it's definitely a fetal face.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's.
These fetal face
Fetal-faced fiends. I know, Chris, he's out robbing me.
I know.
Oh, he's more Rob than Rob.
The triple alliteration.
Oh no!
I love it.
All
These
right.
ferocious fetal faceless fiends.
Oh,
Nestled
my God.
Deep
That's
in
a
the
quad now.
Syracuse throughway.
Keep it going, Mark.
I can't. I lost it. I lost it. Nestled in the bosom of Syracuse.
Oh, it warms the cockles. So these fuckers
All
are
right. So
just
they are
floating
weird
around.
looking. All right.
Poor Mrs. Collins is just standing. She's still in her car. She almost got out. She's looking at them, just wondering the fuck, certainly.
All right.
And we continue. Whatever nebulous pedigree these creatures may have had, their arrival was short-lived, as Collins recalled. Then, before I could even gasp, the things disappeared and the shape beneath them rose, and I realized it was a saucer.
Oh boy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Wait.
It spun and zoomed about 10 feet off the ground and up into the air, and I could not even see where it went.
Okay.
All right.
Standard ops.
This is what happens.
So it's
Sure.
you got a fucking flying saucer with a
Right.
super antenna.
Yep.
So what that makes me think, all bizarre shit aside, is that it wasn't so much that the object was sinking, but that this is a retractable. Maybe it was a fucking periscope.
Yeah,
I don't
but
know.
how did it turn from looking like wreckage into a saucer?
Well, what she basically saw, I'm assuming, and this is my assumption, a silhouetted hunk of metal that was half obscured in the snowbank. What she assumed was a plane crash was probably just this. Maybe the saucer was crumpled up a little. Maybe the saucer hit the ground hard. Unfortunately, that was not elaborated on. But I just think it was not a car. It was too big to be a car. And she couldn't recognize it, so maybe for some reason her mind jumped to plane crash. That's my best assumption. I don't really know, though.
All right. And then it
At
just
this point,
floated away.
Well, it spun, hovered up,
It has to spin.
and disappeared from whence she could not see.
Okay.
Even though there was a little break in the blizzard at this point, it's understandable.
Yeah,
Especially if
yeah,
the thing took off
totally.
fast. What happens next? We've all seen Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yeah.
My lights suddenly came on.
Duh.
I started the car, and it was all right. Much like the kids.
All right.
The car was all right.
Kids are all right.
Although she could have left at that very moment, Colin's curiosity got the better of her, and she decided that she would have to investigate. This is what she said. I pulled up to where the place was, the place being the UFO, got out with a flashlight and walked over to where it was sitting. A large hole was melted in the snow about a foot across, and the grass was showing. The grass was warm, but nothing was dug up around there. So unlike, my personal hypothesis that it was probably a retractable antenna,
Right.
she was still working under the idea that this
Yeah.
thing went all the way down and went all the way up.
Okay.
With that, Collins sagely decided that she had been through enough for the evening, and she drove to the nearest motel to spend the night. The following day, she made it to her son's post and told him about her incredible experience. But, as is too often the case, the young soldier was not supportive of his mom going public with her sighting.
Well, yeah.
When I told my 18-year-old son, he cautioned me not to repeat it and looked at me with sympathy, which discouraged me from talking about it.
No.
What she's calling sympathy, I tend to think is like that sort of pitiful derision, like, Mom lost her shit.
Yeah.
She's gone soft.
Dude, mom's
soft in the head.
see crazy shit, man.
And that, unfortunately, it seems like shamed her from talking about it for the better part of 8 years.
Okay. Well, maybe he's just looking out for her. Maybe he doesn't want her to be. This is what, 66 or 50 something?
58.
58.
Yeah.
So,
No.
yeah.
So it's all right. Let's look at it from his perspective a little bit. He's in the military.
Right.
Yeah.
It's Project Blue Book time. The derision that has heaped on flying saucers maybe isn't as acute as it became in like the Dr. Hynek, heyday that was soon
Right.
to happen. But it was still aplenty. People were still picking on people that saw little green men and shit. There was definitely a lot of animosity to be had by people that came forward with sightings like this. And following the status quo was the fucking archetype way to live in the 50s. Plus, he's in the military, so maybe he doesn't want to be associated with having crazy in his family, at least in his perspective. I mean, I'm reading a lot into it. I honestly don't know what he was thinking.
I'm just assuming that he doesn't want his mom to get like a bunch of shit.
That could be true too. It could be all altruistic concern.
It's all those things probably in one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap this up. It would take Mrs. N.L. Collins nearly a decade before she would reveal her fascinating and utterly unique story to the world at large. But one can't help but wonder how many other stories as astonishing as hers continue to languish in the memories of those individuals who eyewitnessed the events and who were, for whatever reason, discouraged from sharing their extraordinary experiences. That's me soapboxing a little, as I'm wont to do.
Well, sure.
The best stories are the stories we will never hear. The most fascinating encounters, the things that would outdo Roswell and just blow the Patterson-Gimlin footage out of the water, are the piece of footage that are still in great-grandpa's old sock drawer.
Right.
And
sure.
And the stories that just won't get told because people, fear, understandably ridicule, or, don't want to embarrass their family if they don't care about themselves. And it's understandable. But that aside, this case is notable for two different things, I think. One, absolutely unique creatures, unlike anything I've ever heard of before or read about. And two, it kind of happened in our backyard.
Yeah,
a stretch of road we have traveled to and from the Niagara Falls area.
Yeah.
Dozens, if not scores of times.
Yeah, I know a lot.
Which is kind of fun.
And there's also, so that puts it near like Lake Ontario, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and there has been some discussion about Lake Ontario USO bases.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh.
The Great Lakes in general,
Bases.
but Ontario definitely has a lot of sightings.
There's allegedly multiple USO bases in Lake Ontario, so that's kind of interesting. Not to say that that's proof, but it's a little bit of an interesting thing.
Well, it's definitely not proof.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, it's 100% not
there's
proof,
just no
but-
way we can even...
I'm just saying people allegedly say there's underwater UFO bases in the lake that just happens to be next to the thruway that this happened on.
So you're saying you think this is 100% extraterrestrial? Or if not 100% leaning towards it, I should say.
in my whimsy.
In the whimsy of your child.
In the whimsy of my child, I'm like, oh, this is awesome. One of these crafts came out of Lake Ontario. It was, it was the blizzard ended up fucking up its trajectory or whatever, and then it kind of crashed real quick into the throughway. They got out, they fixed it, and they're like, God damn it, get going, and they all took off again.
Right.
Everyone was good. Sounds good.
Yeah. And everyone was good.
Everyone was good.
Credits.
Sounds good. Maybe not necessarily what happened. I think, skeptically speaking, we have to start with the fact that she is driving in a blizzard.
Yeah, that's going to be an issue.
Going, towards Niagara Falls from Syracuse, which is a hike. It's a long drive. I mean, Niagara Falls to us is
but she's not
3
necessarily going towards Syracuse. She's going to wherever the Army base is.
But wasn't she from Syracuse? Or
yes.
No? Okay, so she's from Syracuse and she's going to Niagara Falls. That's going to be...
Oh, it is a haul.
Yeah, I mean, because for us, Niagara Falls is
between 2 and 2.5.
Yeah,
from
so for
here
her, it's
to
going to be like
Niagara
3.5 to
Falls.
4 hours.
True,
almost.
100%.
So considering
and
the
amplify
conditions,
that by what we were talking about, like what you're about to say. Blizzard driving it's like years in driving.
Exactly.
It takes so much longer. It takes so much more of a toll.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you're necessarily going to hallucinate, though.
we
don't know how tired she may or may not have been if she pulled over by the side of the road. But then she would still probably be saying, "Oh, I pulled over. I didn't want to freeze to death, but I had no choice. The roads were terrible, and I had this hellified dream."
Could be.
A lot of people don't mistake their dreams for reality.
No.
But it's a possibility, and it's one we have to entertain. The other thing that makes me kind of question what's going on, which I hate, again, because I love hometown heroes like this, and I also love absolutely unique and weird creatures, is that's a pretty detailed look.
I know that's what I'm having an issue with.
Kind of what throws me
in like the worst of weather.
And no headlights.
And
Yeah.
Not a blackout. I mean, there might be some street lights going on.
No, but so she must have that detail.
She must have been able to. There must have been enough light for her to get that much detail off of it.
But not enough light that she didn't know it wasn't a plane.
It's true. See? Interesting.
But you know what? We are going to be fair. We are going to address both sides of it.
Okay.
I still am fascinated by the nature of these creatures. And the two things that pop into my mind almost immediately every time is, first off, what were they doing? I mean, cool enough that they fucking can defy gravity.
Right.
But why are they hovering around this pole? Are they some sort of repair organisms? Bio-robots or something?
Maybe they're just the pilots.
They could be pilots, but they could be the maintenance people, the engineers.
Well, if they have their crew... I mean, did she give a description on how big the ship was? I can't remember.
No.
Okay, so... maybe this could fall into one of those weird things where the ship is one of those bizarre sizes, like 5 by 12.
Like bigger on the outside, bigger on the inside?
Or maybe it's just a bizarre shape that would fit a creature of that she described. I mean, the thing's basically a dog with arms under its chin.
I think it had to be at least large enough for her to mistake it for a plane.
Okay.
I mean, we should assume that. If it was just like a 4x9 rectangle that looked like a coffin or something.
But I mean, she just saw some wreckage, so I think she just assumed whatever the size of the wreckage she saw was part of the plane.
Or she saw a piece of technology that was unrecognizable as a plane and too big to be a car, so she assumed because its shape was odd, it must be a wreckage of something familiar rather than the shape it's supposed to be for something unfamiliar. I mean, that's a possibility.
Yeah, but that would kind of then she saw that it was a saucer. So I'm like, if you saw something that...
Also partially buried in the snow, in all fairness. So what she saw above might not have been the saucery part.
Right, could be below.
It could have been just
snow.
the knobby part that attaches to the antenna that is atop the saucer.
Well, then it's not really saucer if half of it's a saucer and half of it's a fucked up thingy.
Yeah, but to me that's getting caught up in an unnecessary detail.
It's sort of, but sort of not. Because if you say saucer, that's a sucking saucer.
Yeah, but a saucer doesn't necessarily have to be equilateral at the top. You could have lumpy, weird-ass fuckery on top of something that is essentially two plates put on top of each other, which would make it a saucer.
Yeah.
True.
But again, we don't
she
know.
doesn't say.
Well,
exactly.
Yeah, but we don't know.
I mean,
so
she also stated, too, that it spun up and disappeared.
Yes.
So whatever happens, let's say that she comes across this crash in the throughway, these two aliens come out and they They dance the pole like you want to do.
Dance the pole.
And they fix whatever.
That's what Syracuse is really
that's
for.
Actually, yeah. Lookers.
A broken industrial city.
Yeah, there you go.
Titty bars.
Diamond dolls.
I'll tell you what, if you're on the
lookers.
Thruway for the last 10 years, every night you go on there, it looks like you're in a Steven Spielberg movie.
It does,
Because
yeah.
there's construction and lights constantly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, it's true.
But this
That
is
true.
58 too. Here's what intrigues me. Let's put aside what shapes of saucers are and what other things could be going on. The fact that these things are so biologically atypical makes me think about what we've been hearing in scientific circles for years about tailor-making astronauts for intergalactic or even interstellar voyages.
Interesting
What kind of
approach.
biology would you need? Like, if you're the kind of creature and your only mission really is to make sure this vehicle, its maintenance works well and it can traverse these distances and whatever else, maybe you need to be short. And maybe you need to be squat in the back, and you need to be able to move fast on your four legs, but you need these little pointy hands at the top. Like they apparently have dexterous four legs that can grab things, but these two little pointy things so you can get into these specialized nooks.
Yeah.
The whole fuck all of a biology that this thing is might be highly designed to be specifically what a craft like this needs to function. And as
Yeah.
soon as it goes wrong, Harvey and Bill get sent up to the fucking top to fucking deal with the antenna issues or whatever.
No, I mean, actually, that does make sense that you would actually bioengineer something to fit a certain craft, or maybe this is just their natural biology and how they're shaped.
That is also a factor.
Which-
yeah, I feel
which
like the
is-
shape isn't a factor. There's something more.
I'm just saying I'm intrigued by it.
Yeah.
It's not
Right.
a factor in the sighting. It's a factor in that it is so befuddling.
They have a really weird appearance,
Yeah.
like their dogs.
No,
with
I
human
can see how
faces.
if that could stretch into a tardigrade.
Yeah.
Oh, there's definitely tardigrade elements to it. To
Oh,
me.
totally.
Except that they're, I think, eight-legged and you know,
Yeah.
have little sphincter faces.
Right.
Tardigrades are absolutely fascinating. I love
Yeah,
them.
they're fucked up.
The big round head and basic, I don't know, horizontal appearance is what made me think that. But and you're right. We have nothing to compare it to. But in my mind, it's like if this is a typical UFO piloted by probe happy grays. Wouldn't it be fascinating? You never get to see the guys that work in the underbelly, the working class, blue collar, get her done
Yeah.
guys.
This is the
it's like a
maintenance
class
crew,
system.
yeah.
The Greys are like the intelligent hierarchy. It's like
Well,
the Hunger
they always
Games.
suggest that,
They
like,
rule, and then
Grays are always like the fundamental short.
Those are
grays.
the untouchables?
They're the ones that like do the menial medical tasks, while the taller, thinner grays are the
Yeah.
ones that are in charge.
Yeah.
And the reptilians or the mantises or whatever are the ones that are supervising and conniving all evilly. There's always been like weird hierarchical systems in these things. Again, I'm just pissed in the wind.
Well,
There's
yeah,
a
at
couple
this
of theories there
point.
because then you get to like what is it? Is it Dulce or Dulce?
Well,
what's the base where all the alien species are supposed to coexist?
Oh, under
and it's
the-
like a
yeah,
huge
yeah.
problem
Under
because
the-
they're all
under the
assholes to
plateau.
each other. Yeah,
Yeah.
Like you can't let the Greys eat with the reptilians, and the Nordics can't be seen by whoever because they get all jealous and shit gets weird.
And
Now, see,
Nordics hate
yeah.
the Deltic dogs.
Yeah,
and now it's a gang war.
and
you
then
know
it
what?
turns into a whole thing. And even in goddamn space, we can't fucking have harmony with each other. You know?
Oh, why would we have any more harmony in space than anywhere else?
Because we're traversing the goddamn cosmos.
You know what?
Okay, that's why.
You sound like a Star Trek fan.
Oh,
The
well.
denier shows up.
Exactly.
If
You-
that's what you want in space, come join Chris and I.
Yeah.
Watch some fucking Discovery.
Wow.
You want
all
the
right.
treaty, but you
You
still want lightsabers.
You want a treaty, don't you?
and stabbings and laser fire.
Wow, I do enjoy laser swords and
Everyone does.
stormtroopers of all shapes and sizes.
So these fucking things are weird. These things are genuinely weird to look at. They don't acknowledge, Ms. Collins at all. She's just doing her thing, and it's over practically before it begins. But it just makes for like a fascinating slice of ufological lore that has no precedent.
Yeah.
and no analog as far as I can tell.
Yeah, no.
No, not at all. Yeah, I mean, again, skeptically speaking, we can look at the snowstorm. Like you said, maybe she pulled over and had like a lucid dream or something. But I'm gonna go with that. She actually saw these creatures in this wreckage, and again, my theory. I know this is me, and I got nothing to back this up, but I'm saying Lake Ontario is right there. reports of USO bases, a couple of them there.
It's a possibility.
Maybe a couple, 2 or 3. You never know.
And I'm gonna go to my fallbacks,
Oh,
which
yoy.
are it took her 8 years to talk about this.
That's true. That's true.
Out of deference to her son, who maybe by the time he was 26 could deal with, I guess, the truth of her, experience, or at that point just didn't care anymore. So she's not monetizing it. She finally puts out a report in a paper. She's not. What benefits are she getting besides ridicule and stink eyes at the supermarket from people that want to pick on her? It doesn't mean that she wasn't fantasizing or lying.
Right.
Those are two possibilities that are true. But when someone doesn't have anything obvious to gain and was stewing on it for like the better part of a decade until they're finally like, I just got to get this out, if only because I need to see, this isn't obviously way pre-internet days, see if somebody else ever had an experience like this, to see. I mean, you can't underestimate the drive people have to have a communal truth, this idea that I can't just live with being the only one that saw something like this. It is haunting me.
Right.
And things like that, to me, lend at least a smidge of credibility. Not
Totally.
full-on veracity, but a smidge of credibility. And, again, when it's all said and done, they're called Delta dogs, which is fucking awesome. I mean, they're not
I
like
still
airline
don't-
protective dogs.
Yeah, I don't know why.
They don't, I mean, I guess they're
See, I think of like
vaguely
a
canine.
hot dog, like a Delta dog.
Oh, yeah, that's another way.
Like Delta
a,
Sonic.
a military term, a fucking
Yeah, that's gas station hot
an
dog.
airline, a gas station fucking hot dog.
Yeah, the best.
Man.
But they don't really look like dogs. Like literally, they
No.
look like dogs somewhere between mid-flank and the first rib.
Right.
And even then, not really.
And if they stand up, are they kind of like Goro? No, they don't have enough arms to be like Goro.
No,
Or
No.
Kintaro.
Jesus Christ.
I loved Kintaro. He's my favorite.
I cannot wait to draw these fucking things.
Oh, I know, these things are cool.
Again, Harry Trumborg, give the devil his due, in 96, when I wasn't even thinking about doodling this stuff, did a bang-up job. But, of course, I have to do my version
Yeah,
of it.
no, it looks
Just
great.
because I get a kick out of that.
Yeah. All right, Chris.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't know. It's an old woman on dope.
Ah, the old
Wow.
50s weed.
Yeah, you just gaslit the entire
I did.
fucking ufological fucking core
Don't be on dope, old people.
and elderly people.
I mean,
You gaslit
No, I mean
everyone.
smoke the dope, but
Yeah, definitely smoke dope, old people. I mean, if that's what you want to do.
yeah, I mean, it helps with arthritis and just general.
No. I
things.
think
Cataracts.
maybe she's also. I don't. That's the conditions are so.
Yeah.
Man, it just happened to be in a horrible whiteout. Like, what the fuck?
They always
like, it'd
kind
be
of
different if
put
it
the
wasn't.
patina
You know what I
on
mean? Then you'd be like, she clearly was seeing.
In all fairness, the whiteout broke when she saw the thing. So there was a little break. We've driven through enough
Sure.
blizzards so that
Sure.
sometimes you stop being in hyperspace for a heartbeat,
Right.
and you can actually
Sure.
see what's going on. Had it been a whiteout, she would not have seen this. She would have just driven past it.
True.
Yeah.
All right.
But
Yeah.
having said that, I will concede visibility probably blew well hung goat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The visibility
go.
is going to be terrible. I mean, and this is back in 50 something when the throughway was, or 58, when the throughway was just pretty much opened up, wasn't it?
Dude, I don't even know. Were there pyramids on either side at that point? I literally have no idea what it was
know.
like.
Because just now with the way that the throughway is set up under constant construction, I mean, there's throughway stops every 20 to 30 miles.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I don't think back then that
Oh,
there
no.
was. I
No.
think it was just like open road, like pay.
Yeah,
your-
you could not get your $16 Big Mac and
Yeah.
your little rest stop.
Oh,
Yeah, and it might
man.
have even been sort of new, like because Route 20 used to be the big highway. That's why it runs all the way east and west
Right.
before
Right.
the throughway.
Yeah, yeah.
The throughway is newer invention because they
Yep.
realized that was a main highway.
Yeah, exactly.
See, that's where you guys come in handy. I would never have thought to research the history of the throughway, though that could really lead to some pivotal evidence.
You could. Yeah, and the fact that I think one of the last times that Chris and I ate on the throughway, I got a Whopper, and it was in fact $14 because
Yeah.
I got cheese with
Throughway
it.
Whopper, throughway
Fancy
Yeah,
pants.
I got fucked out of cheese.
Chris got no cheese. I
was
got cheese.
so mad.
I ordered just a regular Whopper meal with fries and a water, and like it's gonna be $14. I'm like, what? And Chris was like, dude, you fucked up. You ordered cheese. I'm like, how is cheese gonna be $14?
That's why you need pocket cheese.
It's a
You gotta
fucking
have
I
some
know.
pocket
I
cheese
wanted
to
the
smuggle
cheese.
in.
I'll pay for the cheese, and I didn't get the fucking
And Chris
cheese.
did not get the
The
cheese.
last time I ate a throughway was the three of us coming back from Scarecon, I think.
Oh,
a
that's
convention we
right.
went to
Oh, Jesus.
That's right.
some years ago now, maybe 5
oh my
years
God.
ago,
Yeah,
maybe a
that's
little
right.
less.
Yeah, there you go. Well, a little history of the New York State Thruway.
We almost stole Barry Bostwick's Chinese food.
Yeah, we did.
We got to.
Jesus, no,
I forgot about that.
Got to hang out with
Vernon G. Wells and Joe Bob Briggs.
Both of whom were
And
absolutely
John Russo,
brilliant.
yeah.
And John Russo of
Yeah.
Never Living Daylight.
Yeah, they were dope.
You guys were busy interviewing John Russo, and for some reason I walked by with my coffee, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
you're like,
"Hey, guys,
I gotta go
what's
get
up?"
some Deathwish. Was it Deathwish? No, what was it?
I think it was
Deathwish?
Deathwish coffee.
And Lloyd
Yeah.
Kaufman asked me if he could take a selfie with me so he could promptly broadcast that he just met Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
there you go.
Dude, Lloyd Kaufman's
he's awesome.
Yeah.
You made
He's
it
an
on
awesome-
Lloyd Kaufman's Instagram.
Yeah,
He's an
absolutely.
awesomely
He's
weird
like, I take a
dude.
picture. I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, you could take a picture with me,
There you go.
which will be part of our sexy calendar. That's a throwback reference.
That's a throwback a couple weeks ago. All right, cool. So there you have it. Delta Dogs, man. It's kind of cool because it's local. They're definitely a really oddly described alien that I
would
think that
say
we've seen
utterly
any.
unique.
Totally.
I can't know all
Yeah.
of them. None of us can, but obviously the three of us have spent a long time reading about these things recreationally, somewhat professionally, and I have never encountered anything that even remotely resembles these
yeah.
type of things.
Totally.
And I like the fact that they seem also to be animals. Like, I'm implying that they might be repairing the antenna or the periscope or whatever the fuck it is. They literally could be space dogs out for a walk. Like, you park, they gotta do their little run around the fucking antenna,
Right.
get their exercise.
Right.
Relieve themselves and then come
Yeah,
back in.
they were shitting.
Yeah.
Maybe
They could be
They
just
were shitting on the New York State Thruway.
shitbag space dogs.
Well, the way it looks now,
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
aliens have been shitting on it for years.
In fact, I'm airing
That's
it.
your tax dollars at work, Chris.
They're
There you
ET
go.
pet, I think.
Oh, there you go. Cool.
They're definitely
All right.
pets.
Awesome.
Right.
Not that I'm saying everything quadrupedal needs to be owned. I'm not that guy.
Ah, Jesus Christ.
I'm
You're
woker
going to
than
get us in
that.
trouble with PETA. I hope you're fucking happy. The PETA people are going to come after us now.
I'm saying that if you have
Pod's
four legs,
over.
you don't need to be owned.
PETA is going to own us
Yeah,
with leashes.
but don't they already?
Yeah, oh, there you go. All right, so you know what? That is a shorter than usual episode because we're recording this to cover the week that I'm going to be in Florida at Disney World with my family. So
Well, good. You enjoy.
Yeah, no, I hope
There you have
It's a
it.
Small World is worth it screwing our audience like this.
when this
Yeah, enjoy your dolls.
Yeah, when this comes out, I will more than likely be drinking my face off in the middle of Epcot. So
Yeah.
no, not Epcot. Is Epcot in Florida?
Oh
Epcot-
yeah.
oh my
Okay,
God.
yeah, no, I'll
Dude,
do
Yes.
that.
that's the game.
I've
You
never
drink
been-
at
I've
every
never-
country.
I've
Oh,
never
yeah,
been
you
That's
do.
the
You drink
game.
at every country, and then you see the world of tomorrow.
Okay, cool.
Circa 1953.
Awesome.
And you
All
cry
right.
because you'll never see it.
Awesome. So I'll just be drunk crying in
Yeah,
Disney.
that's the future I want to be in. But no.
No.
How am I going to explain this to my kids?
Phew.
Yeah.
Just buy them tickets to
I
rides.
think actually Evelyn has like lunch and dinner dates with like different Disney princesses.
Oh, hot damn.
It's costing quite a lot of money.
I was gonna say you can
She's gonna be
actually
in heaven.
pay for that now.
You can pay to like eat with the Disney princesses, I guess.
That sounds like an
man.
escort service.
I
Are you
think
sure
it's
you're not
called-
going to Vegas?
No, I'm positive we're not going to Vegas because we're going with my mom and my whole family. It's called like the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo or something like
You're
that.
kidding me.
I swear to
Okay,
God.
well, buy some merch so we can pay for Mark to keep his house.
Yeah,
Yep.
please.
Because
yeah.
he's going to Disney.
Because he's definitely
so-
going to miss a
Actually,
mortgage payment.
now, what's funny about this is that we're going to Disney, and the week that we leave for Disney, the week that this comes out, is the week that we begin the construction on the remodel
Oh, yeah.
of my house.
See?
Oh, good Lord in heaven.
So this is technically a time capsule because we were recording this in like, what is it, January
Yes.
27th
Yes.
is when this is actually recorded. By the time this comes out, so much could have happened.
Hopefully
Good
all
or
positive.
Good or bad. Could
Let's
have
stay
happened.
optimistic.
Oh my God! So many T-shirts available.
Listen, guys,
Help us
again,
help Mark.
we have T-shirts at our TeePublic shop. We recently launched a 2-set for $13 of enamel pins,
Which is a fucking steal for enamel pins.
Yeah, for pins.
I've
two
designed
pins.
pins for like Little League baseball teams and other things. They will charge an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
$13 for two. I know I'm shucking for us, but that is a fucking phenomenal deal.
Well, dude, I mean, these are these pins they're 2 inches. They're hard enamel.
Yeah, they're no joke.
3 color.
Designed by us
Exactly.
for you.
Yeah, and they're and yeah. So I mean,
We've touched them.
we
have. All
yeah.
of us.
I'm the one mailing them out, as a matter of fact.
He licks every one before he sends them out.
No,
They
don't
may
do
have
that.
been under my
DNA
armpit.
I use tape. I just tape them.
All right, fair enough.
That's all
I may
do.
have sniffed a couple.
Chris knows a couple, yeah.
I need to smell things.
So
Fair
yes,
enough.
Chris is big into smelling things. So that enamel pin set, the 2 for $13, is available in our Big Cartel shop, which is cryptonautpodcast.bigcartel.com. The link will be in the description of this podcast. As always, TeePublic. Check that out. We got T-shirts and everything there. Totes. We got totes there. Yeah, there
So
you have it.
what we have is Space Pups, Save Mark's House.
Yep.
Thank you for bearing with our slightly shorter than usual pod, and we'll be seeing you next week.
We'll talk
We'll
to you
see
soon.
it in the spring.
Yeah, no doubt.
Is spring going to happen soon?
No, not the end of March.
Yeah, but we're over the hump. We will.
Are we really, though?
No, I mean it's early.
No, dude, February
I
is...
know.
I know.
No,
Listen,
February is the black
I know.
abysmal hole. It is the fucking Friedrich Nietzsche of months.
Okay.
You have to look into the
it's
abyss.
beyond
You have
that.
to fucking dig your way through it. But once you're through it, March is a little bit of a mercy. So we'll get there.
All right, we'll be talking to you soon.
Bye.